If you're like me, then you've always colored outside the lines. No matter what I do, it seems that my content is too much for the folks in charge of ad revenue here, so that's why your support means so much to me. By subscribing, liking, or even becoming a patron, like my newest patrons, Les and Subranch Pig. Patrons get behind the scenes content and video chats with me. For all the ways in which you can support, just go to patrickmarano.com, linked in the description below. If one of the reasons that you've never been to a bathhouse is because you're afraid that there won't be anyone there, or that you won't find anyone that you're gonna like, then the answer is simple. Visit your local bathhouse during the holiday season. Saunas around the world are jam-packed during the winter holidays for several reasons. Number one, people are off work. Number two, people are in town visiting their families. And number three, the holidays are a time for indulgence, from food to booze, and yes, to sex. The year is ending and everyone is throwing caution out the window and following their debauched little hearts right to the front of their favorite place, the bathhouse. Of course, visiting a bathhouse during the holidays comes with its own set of things to keep in mind. In this video, I'm going to walk you through what the bathhouse looks like during the holidays and how to navigate your way to success. And later in the video, I'm also going to share my number one tip for enjoying yourself at the sauna during the holidays. Let's go. And let me know down in the comments if you have ever been to a bathhouse during the holidays and how was that experience like for you. So the first thing that you're going to notice is the crowds. Like anywhere else during the holidays, like the mall and the grocery store, the bathhouse is busy, busy, busy. Here's my hot tips for navigating the crowds. Number one, expect lineups. So during the holidays, you need to plan accordingly, no matter where you're going anyway. Obviously, if you're driving in from the suburbs, leave room for more traffic. Parking might be an issue. And when you get to the bathhouse, yeah, there'll probably be a lineup, especially if you're there during the evening or the weekend. Number two, be flexible. When you go, because it's busy, you're gonna have to be able to navigate through the crowds and what that means. And what that means, possibly, is that if you've been before and there's a room that you enjoy, it might not be available. If you go and you usually get a room, there may be no rooms available. You may get a locker to begin with. Then they're gonna put you on a waiting list and you have to wait until a room presents itself. Number three, be good at sharing. You might have to wait to take a shower. You might have to wait to get in the jacuzzi because it's too packed, or mount the sling. You gotta be good at sharing the amenities that are there. The steam room, there may be traffic jams in areas. That's all I'm saying. Number four, know what you want. And what I mean by that is, do you enjoy public stuff or do you like private stuff? So if you're more of a private person and you like to do your stuff behind closed doors, then 100% put your name down on the waiting list for a room, because there is not 1 inch of the bathhouse where you're going to be able to play in a public space where you won't have an audience. And an audience usually means people that also not only look, but want to get involved. So if that's not your thing, then 100% get a room. If you enjoy public play and you want people to get involved, the holidays are a great time to enjoy those public spaces in the bathhouses. Number five, get comfortable rejecting others. Chances are someone's gonna hit on you and you're not gonna be into it, so this is how you handle it. If somebody comes up to you and they're touching you and they're making it super obvious that they're into you, all you have to do is use my foolproof rejection technique, which is you take their arm, you give it a little squeeze, you put it away, you smile and walk away. The little squeeze is saying, hey, I'm not mad, I'm just not into you. Putting the arm away is like, but I don't want you touching me. The smile is like, okay, no hard feelings. But the walking away is like, don't follow me. Of course, if people are more aggressive, you might have to do that more than once. You might have to drop the smile. You might have to verbally say, no thank you. And if it escalates, go to management. Number six, remember that the grass is not always greener. Something that I notice people do when there's a lot of people at the bathhouse is they're constantly looking for better. So, for example, say they're hanging out with somebody, you're having a really good time, and you're into it, and he's into it, and that's great. But you always have your eye out for something else. And that's something I find a lot of people miss opportunities because they could be enjoying themselves with one person, but instead of doing that, they're running in circles looking for the perfect thing. So the grass is not always greener. Of course, there's a lot of people and you want to see what's out there and you want to taste the rainbow. I get it. But just don't waste all your time looking for something that maybe doesn't even exist. So now we know that the bathhouse is busier than usual. There's tons of people and they're not just locals. Oh no. At this time of year, you can expect out-of-towners. These people might originally be from your city and now they're back in town visiting their family, or they could be tourists that have come to enjoy themselves. Either way, it's a new crop of people that are bringing with them some advantages and some things to be aware of. Here's my hot tips for navigating out-of-towners. Number 1, new meat. Everyone wants the new guy, so shoot your shot. And since they're visiting, they're usually more up for it. Like, you know when you go on vacation and you spend $20 on a coffee and you're like, well, I'm on vacation. You do things on vacation that you would never do at home. I'm not saying that the out-of-towners are just gonna give it up to you. That's up to them. But them being from out of town, somewhere new-ish, where they're new meat, they're gonna be up for it. Number 2, ask where they come from. This is a super easy conversation starter, and I'm not really into talking much at a bathhouse, but since it's gonna be so crowded, you might have a hard time getting their attention otherwise. And this is a really innocent, easy question where you can gauge if they're into you pretty immediately or not. Number 3, be aware. So multicultural cities like Toronto welcome people from around the world. There's cultural differences, so people react differently in different situations, they handle themselves differently. So if somebody is being shy and coy, that just might be who they are. If they're being super forward, that might be just what they're used to. So you may have to adapt yourself and your thinking depending on who's there. Number 4, body language. You might not speak the same language, but you don't have to. You're at the bathhouse. Use your body. Now, with everybody being in such a celebratory mood, drug and alcohol use goes up. People consume more than usual, and some people are trying it out for the first time. So here are my hot tips when it comes to substance use during the holidays at the bathhouse. Number 1, don't judge. If somebody is tipsy or silly, they're acting a fool, but they are not a danger to themselves or others, just let them be. You don't know their story. They might be blowing off steam. They may have done a little too much. They're not used to it. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Just leave them alone and don't judge. Number 2, don't accept drugs from strangers. Even if you're a trusting person, you better not be in this space. It's better safe than sorry. Take care of your own shit. Do not take candy from strangers. Number 3, get consent. There are certain drugs like GHB which are known as the date rape drug because they easily render the user unconscious if they do too much. So if you're in a room with somebody and they're not responding, they're not giving you any verbal cues, do not proceed with that person. You need to know that that person is into it. In fact, if you're in a room and somebody is not responding and they seem super out of it, then you might want to go to the front desk to let them know because we don't want anything to happen to that person. And number 4, have a buddy. If you're planning on partying, it's a good idea to bring a friend so you guys can look out for each other, especially if you're not very experienced with drugs or alcohol or bathhouses in general. Bring a friend, or at the very least, tell somebody where you're going so there's a breadcrumb trail. Okay, now if you are still watching, then you deserve my number 1 hot tip for bathhouse success during the holidays. It's only one word, but it's easier said than done. And that word is patience. The sheer volume of people in there will mean that you have to have patience. Patience when you're lining up to get in. Patience as you wait for a room to become available. Patience to use the douching station. Patience to get into the sling. Patience when that guy keeps coming up to you and you keep having to say no. Patience when you're with somebody in a room and people start to get too involved with you, so you have to retreat back to your room. Just remember, it's the holidays and it's easy to get overwhelmed in the crowds of the bathhouse. So if you do, just pull yourself aside, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and remember, it's all supposed to be silly fun anyway, so just relax and have fun. And here's a little bonus tip because I love you guys so much. When you go to the bathhouse, they're gonna give you a key. The key is a lot of times on a little elastic band, which a lot of people put around their arm for safekeeping while they're trolling the halls. Also on the elastic band is usually a little tag with your room number. Now, the tip is remove the tag with your room number, stick it in your shoe, lock it in your locker, and keep it in your room. Because if you lose your key on the elastic band with the number, it may be found by somebody who is not a good person. And we all know what's going to happen then. They know where you live, they're going to go to your room and take your stuff. It's easy to misplace your key. Sometimes you take it off your arm. There's crowds, there's people, if you've been drinking, etc. So, to be safe, remove the number. You know where your room is. It's not hard for you to remember 14. So you don't need the tag on there, and it's just a signal for everyone else to know where you and your stuff is. And for a deeper dive, why not sign up for my newsletter? It's absolutely free and full of discounts on fun stuff like sex toys and clothes. Just go to patrickmarano.com, linked in the description below. And I will see you in the next video. Mwah!